So today we're going to talk about something a little woo-woo, right? But you know what? Life is woo-woo. Like this morning when I woke up, and by the way, I'm in Australia. It's awesome today. But when I woke up, before I looked at the clock, I said, you know what? It's 6:39. And the weird thing was I pulled out my phone and it was 6:39. So I thought, well, this is a pretty good day to record some woo-woo stuff. So I want to talk to you a little bit about a book that I read a few years ago, and it was called Reality Transurfing. And it's this gigantic book. It's actually like 6 books in one. And it gave me a whole new perspective on life. And here's what I mean. So there's the past, the present, and the future. So let's call this the past, this the present, and this the future, okay? And most of us think that we're slaves of our past. But if that were true, then people like Oprah Winfrey and Jeff Bezos and even Bill Gates and people that grew up with not a lot of things, right? You could say that they were affluent, but they weren't the wealthiest people in the world, all of a sudden became some of the wealthiest or most successful people in the world. I'm not always talking about wealth, but it's the easiest thing for us to measure a lot of times. And so what's the difference between those people and us, right? And a lot of times what we think is, well, we had a tough upbringing and we have this victim mentality. And the victim mentality holds you back. You've heard me talk about it. Don't play the victim card, right? Because you've got to take 100% responsibility for your life. But how do you get out of this? Well, first of all, you've got to know and have an awareness that there are ways out of it, okay? And one of the ways that I early on detected that there was a way out of it was to realize that it was even possible, right? If a guy like Jeff Bezos can become one of the top 5 richest people in the world, then it's possible for anybody, because this guy doesn't have any more hours in the day than I did. He didn't have any more advantages than I do. He's a lot richer than I am. So what did he attach, in his life? And what he did was he changed his past, which sounds weird, to affect his present so he can totally change his future. And a lot of people say, well, you can't change your past. Can't you? Because you can't change maybe the past of the timeline that we're on. But if you read this book, Reality Transurfing, the concept is that there are infinite numbers of timelines and life paths for us, right? So if we start on this path, maybe Jeff Bezos, to use him as an example, or Oprah Winfrey, who was raped and grew up homeless in some parts of her life, stayed on that path throughout her whole life, took it into the present, and had a crappy life. But no, she went to a different timeline. A lot of other people would have stayed on the same timeline. What made her different? I don't know exactly, but I know that we don't know. And so the concept in Reality Transurfing, and the concept that I'm kind of playing with right now, is that if you can change the circumstances of your past, the way you see them, the way you frame them, then you can change the present. Because really the present is just a series of nows, right? And the past is also a series of nows. Those are a bunch of nows that happened in the past. Every moment that happened in the past was once a moment of now. And every moment of now is a moment of now, and every moment that's coming up in your life will be a moment of now. So how can you take the past moments of now and reframe them, rechange them a little bit so that you can change this moment of now? And one of the ways that you could do it is you can decide that your moments of now are going to be from a different perspective, which means that you have to go back and change the way you saw the past. I'll give you an example. If you're 100 pounds overweight, is that because of right now you're 100 pounds overweight, or is it because of the decisions that you made in the past? So those now moments in the past were the ones that got you to this point. Same thing with any other decision in your life. Same thing with any other situation. But those moments in the past, you could have changed at any time. Let's examine that. If you changed 5 years ago and you said, you know what, I'm going to get up every day and I'm going to walk a half an hour instead of not walking a half an hour like you have for the past 5 years, right? Your present would be totally different, possibly. Would you give me a little on that, right? And so if you go and change those moments in the past, then your present is different. And if you could change your present moment, then your future will be different. That's why I always talk about thinking 10x. Because if you're going to be thinking of growth anyway, why don't you think of 10x? Why grow 2x? If you grow 10x, you have to be a different person in the now to be able to change the way 10x manifests itself. You have to think differently. You have to think about different resources. You have to manage differently. You have to manage yourself differently. You have to behave differently now so that you can affect those future nows. Does that make sense? So what do? Well, you have to go back and you have to change the way you see those past moments. Because every one of those moments has led you to this exact moment now. So you go back and you say, well, those moments led me to now, but that makes me a better person because now, today, I can change my timeline going forward. And instead of saying on this timeline, you can select to go on this one. And a lot of times we don't even know that we can select it. So here's the tactic of how I do it, right? And it has allowed me to manifest a lot of really cool things in my life. I'm still working on it though. There's a lot of room for me left. And I think I can go a lot farther now that I have this knowledge. But you have to kind of think about it from a ethereal perspective. Like, you can't quantify it. We don't know. Our brains aren't there yet where we can understand why it happens. But you have to kind of trust in something. Some people trust in God. Some people trust in the universe. Some people trust in source. I think it's all part of the same playbook. And so you got to trust in something. Have faith in something. Why not have faith in something that's empowering for your life right now? So the way you do it is you actually go back and you actually meditate in the now, and you allow now to be changing your future. So before you go to bed at night, think about what you want to have manifest tomorrow and hold that in your mind as you fall asleep. Because so often what we're doing is we're looking at our phones and we're falling asleep based on the latest news, the latest sports stuff, the latest rumor about somebody in Hollywood. That's not helping you in your life to manifest this now so that tomorrow's nows can be better nows. So that's the takeaway that I would suggest for you. That's what you can take away from this video. Start to focus on your now and your tomorrow's now in an empowering way. Hold that thought as you go to sleep to be able to create that new timeline and then live into it. I'll see you on the next video.
Unleash the power of transformation with insights from Light Circle. Dive into your journey of growth with our free ebook, 10 Steps to 10 Times Your Life. Embark on a path to extraordinary living. Click to download your free copy today and start scaling new heights of success. Start on your path to creating a beautiful life. Click the link to download your free copy today and start scaling new heights of success.